Hello, everyone. We're going to be taking a look at Molina in the Florida and Texas markets right now. So, considering Molina and what they've done in the last few years in the ACA space, there's a company that you guys have to see where they're at, and if they do service in your area, this is a company that you guys want to see. If you're not selling it, you got to kind of look out for it, and if you're selling it, you want to make sure where you're competitive in. Molina Healthcare is a company that, when we're looking at Florida, they started out in Dade, moved over to Broward and Palm Beach over the last couple of years, and they have grown that panel. For this upcoming 2017 season, however, they will be growing their network. And as you can see, those areas there are the areas where they are going to be selling ACA products for the first time next year. That is in the Pinellas County, Hillsborough, Polk, Osceola, and Duval. What does that mean? That every one of those counties, whether they had different carriers or carriers that are exiting, are now going to have Molina as an option for them. It's very important that you guys know that Orange County will not be in the service area for Molina. I did mention that it's in Osceola, which is kind of the southern part of Orlando, but Orange County, which is the top part, Molina will not be in. They couldn't get the contracts with the hospitals in on time, so they won't be servicing that area. So within those areas, how competitive is Molina really going to be? Well, you've got very competitive in Duval. It's said that Molina might be either number one or very close to the number one price point in that county. So that's something you guys have to look out for if you live in Duval or you service that area. They're also going to be competitive in Osceola and Polk and Pinellas counties. So in those three counties where there are, other carriers, they are going to definitely have a competitive edge, at least for some clients who might fit the demographic or the type that would buy a product for Molina. They are not going to be competitive in Hillsborough. That's very important because Hillsborough is, right in the Tampa area, and that area definitely has good competition in terms of carriers, at least this year. So you will see that they are not very competitive in the Hillsborough County area, that is by Tampa. And speaking of demographic that Molina goes for, I want to just kind of talk about the type of client that typically buys a Molina product. Now, Molina is an HMO product, which means you have that sort of gatekeeper style of healthcare, which means that you need a referral to go see a specialist. You can't see anybody outside of network, and the network itself is pretty limited when you consider the amount of counties that they're in compared to the rest of the state. However, in the areas that you live, you're still going to be able to receive all the services that are necessary with all the specialists that are considered important. In the Miami-Dade area, Molina has definitely grown to have a very substantial physician panel. So they have a pretty good network in that area. And in the areas where they're growing, which I'll go back and mention again, Duval, Osceola, Polk, Pinellas, Hillsborough, their physician panel will steadily but surely be growing as well. So these folks in Molina, their typical client is somebody who is highly subsidized, low income, multicultural individual, kind of medium age, highly concentrated urban areas. And again, it speaks to the fact that they were great in Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. In those areas, there is a higher population on average, considering the rest of the state of Florida. And there you see why Molina has done so good in those areas. They've recently gained the contract of Baptist in Miami-Dade, so they will be in network for Baptist, which is, a pretty big deal for South Florida, or at least for those who use Miami-Dade physicians. And again, their focus is on products that have low cost, high value for the client. In other words, their bronze plans, their silver plans are usually low cost, low deductibles, lower copays, and co-insurance on average compared to other plans when you look at those costs, not even considering subsidy or cost share reduction. That's where Molina is usually strong at. So look out for Molina being either number one or number two in some of these areas. And we haven't got much competition for 2017 in Florida. We know it's going to be a blue, Molina, and Ambetter State. There's not really going to be anything else with the exiting carriers for this year. Compensation. Compensation for Florida is $19 per agent per member per month, 13 for renewals, and it's going to be 10 for SEP sales. That is in Florida. When you're looking at the Texas market, because Molina is also in Texas, the compensation varies a little bit. But before I mention the compensation for Texas, and I will go over it, just kind of want to go over the areas that you guys want to look at when you're looking at Molina products. Well, first of all, there are in Dallas, and in the Dallas area next year, you've got Scott and White, which will be offering bronze-only products. You've got Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, which will be offering marketplace products. However, they will be one of the highest priced plans. On average, their price increases for 2017 will be on average of 56%, 30% in some areas, but in some areas an increase of 60%. So Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas won't be as competitive, and in Dallas, most likely you're going to have a good opportunity to sell Molina products. Again, not a product for everyone, but for those who find value in it, definitely you're going to have a great competitive advantage there. El Paso, the bottom counties, Star, Hidalgo, Cameron, Harris, and Jefferson County, Molina will have good positioning there, but you guys have to look out and see where Ambetter comes in those areas, because Ambetter looks for the type of client that Molina looks for as well, which is that highly subsidized low-income individual where they can provide managed care to. So Molina will be competitive in those areas, and you guys got to look out for who will be their competitors in those areas. The compensation for Texas, for Molina in Texas, will be $17 per member per month for a new sale, $10 per member per month for a renewal, and $13 per member per month for an SEP sale. That's what they have it listed as. So, those of you who are considering other carriers or whatnot, that there you can kind of see the universe and see what you can expect to make on each sale. I always like to put that so you can sort of look at all the carriers one by one and say, this one has this compensation, the other one has this compensation. And there you have it. The compensation for both states, even though they vary a little bit, it's only in the renewals and the SCPs. On the new sales, it's only a couple dollar difference between Texas and Florida. And you with the exiting carriers, you guys are going to have a lot of opportunity to consider Molina products when you're talking to clients. So make sure that you know about the Molina coverage, their plans, their silver plan specifically for those of you who talk to lots of clients that are in between the 100% to 400% of the FPL, which means that they might be eligible for some sort of subsidy. These are the guys that might be eligible for some Molina products. So keep that in mind. And again, keep Molina as one of the players that will be competitive as far as pricing, as far as network and doctor's options. Well, that depends on what state you're looking at, whether it's Florida or whether it's Texas. For example, in Florida, you're always going to have Florida Blue, which has a way bigger coverage area. But again, it depends on where the customer lives and what he's looking to do with his health plan.